protect our queens.
This is what makes women's basketball so fire.
I mean, I just love playing the game. It's fun.
To see how far the game has grown has been amazing.
They say nobody watching. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people in there, Martin.
Yeah, I think I've always just been able to get downhill.
When recess came, like, I had my sneakers on.
I hit them with a hezzy. After that, they quit.
What's up? What's up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Protect Our Queens podcast presented by Basketball Society. With me, as always, my brother in Christ, my partner in women's basketball crime, Martin Sories, my guy. Happy post WNBA Draft Day, man. How we feeling?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Feeling good, man. Had a good old time. You took the bus up here from DC for the second straight year for us to have some fun out there in the New York City streets, talk to some people about women's basketball. So
saw Gino,
saw a Gino, a version of Gino at least. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you'll see some of the stuff we had going on yesterday. You'll understand the Gino reference a little bit better. So you'll see that on the Instagram page in the coming days. But yeah, man, draft was pretty cool though, man. Pretty fascinating. Excited to talk about it. We got a brand new crop of rookies. Anyone who's watching live, good to have you here. Tap in with the conversation. We're going to have Mike Hughes on in a little bit to talk about Chicago specifically, because he's out there in Chicago and covers the Chicago Sky. Yeah, good to have you here. If you're here live, join us in the comments, in the chat during the conversation. If you're watching on the playback, subscribe to Basketball Society. This is the Protect Our Queens podcast. We're live right now on a Tuesday evening. We're live sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening. We're kind of flexible. We're coming with a lot more new stuff for you guys pretty soon. So definitely stay subscribed with the channel so you see what we got going on.
It's like we're back to our roots, man. Tuesday night show. It's like we're back.
Right. We started out when the podcast
roots,
started a couple years, 2023. Yeah. Started out on Tuesday nights. Now we've been hitting the morning shows. So if you want to talk women's basketball first thing in the morning, definitely stay locked in with the channel. This is the place to be.
As Martin said, we do have Mike Hughes, the Chi Kid, joining us on the show in just a little bit. But before we do that, to talk about the Chicago Sky, before we do that, though, as Martin said, we were both in New York yesterday for the draft. We sat down, watched the entire draft, had some great conversations, had a lot of reactions, right? Some of them in the street, some of them, once we're actually settled. But what are some of the things, or like the big thing for you that stuck out from the draft? I know we talked about a couple different things, but what's your biggest or a couple big takeaways for you after yesterday's draft?
I'm happy for the Mystics, man. I feel like the Mystics really had a brilliant, masterful draft. They picked the three players that we predicted they would pick at 3, 4, and 6: Sonia, Kiki, and Georgia. And I'm super impressed with what they were able to do. Even snuck in a Lucy Olsen pick in the second round. So very, very interesting to see what the Mystics are going to be able to do going forward. I told you my big takeaway is that plenty of teams are going to have a great young core. Like the last couple of years, we've been saying that Chicago's got the best young core, LA's got the best young core, Indiana, So pretty soon in the next 3 to 5 years, I think every single WNBA team will have like a legit young core just because of the talent that's coming out each year. A couple other takeaways. I mean, I love what Connecticut was able to do at 7 and 8, getting Sanaya Rivers and Anissa Morrow. We both thought that Anissa Morrow might go 5 to Golden State, but they went with the international prospect. But I think that's cool that Anissa and Sanaya get to pair together in Connecticut where they need players. Both of them are hard workers, are athletes, and I think are going to be good pros. Our guy, Chaz Franklin, friend of the show, who we've had on, he's now the player development coach with Connecticut. And I saw him making comments online about how excited he is and how excited they are to work with those two players. So I love that for Connecticut. They needed a good draft. And yeah, we're going to talk about Hailey Van Lith in Chicago in a little bit here with Mike. Another thing that stood out to me was Dallas going with Isaiah James with their last pick in the first round, going with a guard, a shot creating guard when they already have Enrique, and then they obviously drafted Page with the first pick, but loved that pick. We thought they might go big, but I was sitting there like, man, what if they go just another bucket, just another bucket getter? So really interesting that guard room for the Dallas Wings now.
I mean, absolutely. You took my big one. It's the Mystics, right? I talked a lot leading up about how big that was. A shocker for me, though, I think, is, and you and I were talking about it as it was happening in real time, Cheyenne Sellers falling all the way down to, what was it, 17 to go to Golden State. I didn't expect her to fall out of the first round, but I think that's a good. I think that's a good spot for her in Golden State to kind of figure some things out. She has the potential maybe to be the face of a franchise. You know what I mean? I did see right before we loaded in that she's actually already in Golden State right now. Her and Caitlin Chen, I think, are there already. Another player that they drafted later on. But man, it's hard to. I don't think we can talk about like draft reactions without talking about the Mystics. Like and you know, it's hard not to do well when you have 3 picks in the top 10, right? When you have 3, 4, and 6, it's hard not to do well. You're going to get good players, but you and I talked a lot about, you know, they're entering a new territory, right? Elena Delle Donne's retired. She's up in the front office now. They kind of have to build this roster around Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin. And when you look at, you know, getting Sonia Citron, getting Kiki Iriafen, getting Georgia Amore, who you predicted would be the pick at 6, like that's a really they have a potential starting 5 under the age of 25 with the 3 plus Aaliyah and Shakira. It's great. Mike's going to come on in a bit. He might not like what I'm about to say, but like there's an argument now, like you said, the Mystics might have the best young core in the league now, just off the strength of those 5 players alone. Obviously, you mentioned they pick up a Lucy Olsen. I think they also got Zay Green in the 3rd round as well.
That's right.
He pick up 5 really good players. Dominique Malunga going to Seattle, bro.
Ooh, real quick on the Mystics thing. Kiki and Aaliyah Edwards are going to be a problem together. A big part of them having that potential to be a young core, like they've got. When I predicted Georgia Amore at 6, I loved the idea of Georgia Amore and Sonia Citron together as that's a backcourt right there. So you've got your guards, and then you got a really good forward in Kiki. You already have a really good forward in Aaliyah Edwards, who's just going into her 2nd year. So Kiki and Aaliyah Edwards, though, the combination of their skill sets, that's going to work. Sign me up for that. Both can space the floor, mid-range floor spacing shooters, good rebounders. Like they're both inside and out. I mean, the combination of their skill sets, that's going to be pretty dope.
The big shocker one of the big shockers to me, you and I were sitting there watching it, Sarah Ashley Barker going number 9 to the Sparks. That was a surprise. I don't think a lot of people expected her to go into the first round. I certainly didn't expect to go into the first round, but she had a great performance in the tournament. She had a good year all year, and she fits. I think you were saying fits well with what they're doing with LA now under head coach Lynn Roberts out there.
I thought that was a perfect pick for them. I had her down, and that was a good one for me too. I loved that pick for them. She's probably, after Sonia Citron, the most pure shooting guard available in the draft. And in her last game in college, she put up 45 against Maryland. And she's known for being a really good shooter, but she's also 23 years old. Like, she's older, she's mature. I read a little bit about what new head coach Lynn Roberts and the Sparks GM was saying about her. They felt like they needed a 3-and-D player, and felt like they got that with her. She's taller. She's listed as 6 foot. So like a taller guard who can hit shots, who can drive it. I mean, I think she really does fit what LA needs. I love that pick for them at as a pure shooting guard. I didn't think that was a shocker. I saw her projected as a first rounder, and I'm not surprised that teams that she went ahead of, like Pow, for example, and others who people may have thought was going first round, and even Cheyenne Sellers. Like that doesn't surprise me. I thought that was one of the best picks that I saw in the first round. I love that for them.
Lisa's here saying, hey Lisa, how you
Hey
doing?
Lisa, how you doing?
Adam here wants to know
Indiana. How about Indiana?
Indiana picked up Michaela Timpson. They picked up Bree Hall in back-to-back picks in the second round. And they picked up Yvonne Ejim in the third round as well. The Fever know what they're doing, man. They've gone all in. I think from beginning of the offseason to the end of the WNBA draft, I don't know if like teams that have had a better stretch of time than the Indiana Fever I don't know if there's many teams you can put above them, if any. We're talking about bringing in DeWanna Bonner. They brought in so many, veterans to surround Caitlin Clark with, and then those 3 picks are really good. I like Michaela Timpson out there in Indiana. I think that's a really good pick. You and I talked about before that she might be a sleeper in the draft. I think that's a good spot for her. I was shocked to see Bree Hall go there as well. I didn't think that Bree Hall would get drafted in the 2nd round.
Shocked.
She's going to Indiana. Shocked. Yeah, I didn't think she would get picked in the 2nd round. I thought she might be a 3rd rounder. I love Bree Hall. I just didn't think she'd be a 2nd rounder. I'm happy for her. I think it's good for her. I just didn't think she'd get picked in the 2nd round. I thought there may be a couple. I thought there may be a couple other players that I think I probably would have. I was more prepared to see get picked by Indiana than Bree Hall. But I like it for her, and I like it for them too. It's a good pick.
That's a bit. I think she has a more clearly defined role. As a rookie, it's hard. Like, listen, we talk about these rookies. It's rare for rookies to really come in and be like they're the best version of themselves on day one, right? So a lot of times you're talking like best case scenario and thinking about like how they looked at their best in college. As we talked about a lot last year with Caitlin coming in, everyone goes through the transition period, folks, at every level. When you're going to another level, whether it's basketball, women's basketball, whether it's anything, education, finance, if you're going up a level, there's a transition and adjustment period that we will see these rookies go through. But I do see Bree Hall as having a little more of a clearly defined role with that group. That was another pick I absolutely loved in the 2nd round for Indiana.
Real quick, before we bring Mike Hughes on, I just saw this tweet from Christina Williams. She just tweeted it like 30 seconds ago. Last night's WNBA draft was the 2nd most watched in league history. It averaged 1.25 million viewers. It peaked at 1.46. It's up 119% versus the 2023 WNBA draft. Obviously, most watched WNBA draft was last year's WNBA draft with Caitlin Clark. So, shout out to the WNBA draft, man. 2nd most watched ever.
Yeah, and anyone who's watching, we're going to have some more draft stuff coming up. We've got a couple more guests coming up this week and next week to talk about more stuff with the draft. You brought up Dominique Malunga's name. We're going to talk about her more specifically in a couple days here on the show, so stay tuned for that. But I will say quickly, I tried to warn you guys. Y'all going to start listening to me one day. I told you, I'm pretty sure this girl is something different. And now that we're getting more clips, she's working out at the saw videos of her working out at the Players Association earlier. She's starting to show us who she is. 7-foot wingspan, 6'6", moves different, can shoot it. I mean, we're talking unicorn status. They're saying she's the WNBA Wemby. So yeah, this is what we've been talking about with the range of talent that is continuing to evolve and be highlighted in women's basketball right now. Another quick thing I'll say too, it's awesome to see how, and this has been the case. This has been the case, how excited these players are to go to the WNBA. And it's grown even more. It's becoming more of a thing. And despite whatever the reality is about money, how much they get paid or don't get paid, like I know what I've seen salaries. My sister played in the WNBA, so I know what those numbers look like. Despite all of that, it's always been this way. There's always been this excitement that you see from the players, their families, their coaches. This is still the ultimate level for them. This is their dream, as you hear so many people say in interviews at the draft and stuff. Like, this is still their dream since they were little girls to go to the WNBA. And that still reigns true, and it's becoming even more of the case now with the popularity and stuff growing. So it's always cool to see that.
Absolutely. Again, if you guys are tapped in with us live, we appreciate you guys for tapping in with us. Make sure you guys are hitting the comments up with any thoughts you might have. We're gonna play a clip of Martin and I talking about what the Sky might do with the 10th pick, and then on the other side of that, Mike Hughes, the Chi Kid, is going to join the show. You have 2 bigs who are, Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. You have an Ariel Atkins. They brought in a Rebecca Allen as well. Drafting Cheyenne Sellers would only continue to heighten that. The goal for the Chicago Sky this season is clear. They want to space the floor. They want to surround Angel and Camila with as many shooters as possible so they can stretch the defense and so that Angel and Camila can have as much space as possible to work down low.
Hey, the boy, the kid. The kid.
What up, man?
Hey, put that boy's theme music on, man. Play that man's theme music. What's going on here? Play that man's theme music. What's up, Mike?
What up, man? How you feeling?
Man, all is well, man. How you doing?
Man, just back-to-back draft champs. You know what? I'll give it to Marcus this year. I'll give it to Marcus. I can't cap. But shout out to the Bulls. Matas Buzelis at 11. Hailey Van Lith at 11. We just dropping 11s over here, man. I saw Hailey. I don't know. Hey, maybe we'll make this a clip later. I don't know if y'all want to, but I saw Hailey got a tattoo last night, 11 on her wrist. I mean,
that's nice.
I'm fucking with it. Because that's an energy you want to see, bro. That's an energy you want to see. Because the fact that came out of the top 10, we had so many amazing players coming out of the draft last night, even past the first round. I was geeking the entire time. Like, we even talk about the Fever. What the Fever were able to do, that shit pissed me off. But I don't even know how they have draft picks after what they got this offseason. But it was, we just get everybody in Indiana. It's just, I can't be mad at it though. I can't.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, Mike. We're going to talk a little bit about it. Let's actually just jump right into it. The Chicago Sky, with the 11th overall pick, drafted Hailey Van Lith. The 11th overall pick originally was not theirs. It belonged to the Minnesota Lynx. They traded for the 11th overall pick the day of the WNBA Draft, earlier in the day, to grab Hailey Van Lith. Martin and I were watching the draft live. We saw them pick up Asia Sivka at number 10. And then he and I just started figuring out, okay, what are they going to do to 11? Like, what are they going for? Trying to figure out what's going on. They pick up Hailey Van Lith. What are your thoughts on Hailey Van Lith, not just coming to Chicago, but more importantly, being reunited in a different system, a better system, you would assume, with Angel Reese in Chicago?
We're going to address the first part of that question first, because the second part, I don't know, but I think it's really interesting to see her be in this building. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we've been waiting for that Allie Quigley type player to be in this building since the departure of Quiggs. Obviously, she's still there. She's probably going to be at a lot of games this year. She's always represented in Skytown, but from the stands now. You tried to do that with Marina Mabry. It just didn't really work out. It's not in the cards. Shout out Chaz Franklin, reunited with Marina Mabry, by the way, Diamond to Shields and Ruthie as well. Going to be a lot of fun to see what they do in Connecticut. But, I think for me, really just getting that lockdown shooter in the building is going to be what's key. And I don't think that's necessarily going to happen in the 2025 season. I think this is a project. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The beauty of Tyler Marsh being in the building, especially bringing in an Ariel Atkins, which we talked about just a few months ago, the significance of having her there, it makes Hailey's job a hell of a lot easier, especially when you have Angel and Camilla down in the paint. You don't have to be a defensive savvy player when you have a bunch of defensive minded players around you. I got the jersey on right now, but not saying she is Steph Curry whatsoever. But you look at an early Steph Curry, who we know Steph and defense don't really correlate. But when you have a Klay Thompson in his prime, one of the best two-way players in the league, a Draymond Green winning Defensive Player of the Year, and Andre Iguodala, makes his job a hell of a lot easier. So Hailey's going to be able to grow. I don't know what the playing time is going to look like. And as far as Angel and Hailey, I saw Angel's tweet last night. She seems ecstatic about it. I can't speak to how they feel. I know it was kind of a rough ending in LSU. I don't know if that was more so because of Mulkey or because the locker room. But they're professionals, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. I don't think they have any beef whatsoever, but I couldn't really speak to that relationship.
Yeah, I think it was really just I think Angel and Hailey always publicly said they didn't have any issues. It was more of like you said, not whether it's Mulkey specifically or just the system at LSU. It obviously wasn't working out the way it ended too, going up against Caitlin Clark. It just all kind of crumbled, and it didn't feel like they really reached their full potential. Hailey certainly didn't look the way she looked in her, at her previous stop at Louisville at LSU. So, but it is interesting to see the reunion, so to speak. I mean, they only played 1 year together at LSU. And again, that wasn't the real Hailey Van Lith. I do think, because you mentioned the playing time, I had just mentioned before you came on, Mike, when it comes to rookies, even Paige, listen, everyone's got a transition to make. Yeah. It's rare for you to come in day one and just start lighting the place up. And even if you're in a role where you're not having to light the place up and you're just kind of minimal, even that can be hard to just adjust to and adapt to and thrive in, because you're not getting as many reps as college. It is bigger, faster, stronger, all of those things. So
Mhm.
I do think that Hailey Van Lith is tough enough, strong enough, skilled enough to contribute, somewhat right away. I don't look at her as just a shooter. I look at her as a guard where you can put the ball in her hands and she can make plays and be dynamic. And learning from, your point guard and Courtney Vandersloot, I love Sloot to death for what she can do.
The point guard, by the way, not
No,
just my
no,
point.
no,
yours.
No,
I
Let's
haven't
be
heard
respectful,
anyone else call her that.
Mike Hughes. I told you that last time.
I am on business, on business
This
every
will be
day.
your last time. You keep it up. This will be your last.
No, but she reminds me a lot of like a Steve Nash. Like she plays the game at such a high level IQ wise. She's won championships. Like that's a great guard as a small guard too. That's a great guard for Hailey Van Lith to be learning from. And I think that's even going to help accelerate how comfortable she is being a contributor right away. I saw my guy Jay Holloway on Twitter, who's with our guy Nick Andre on the best W show. He did kind of a reaction to the Sky draft picks. He was talking about the Hailey Van Lith pick, and I don't think he was too much of a fan. And just to quote him, he said he feels like it was more name than fit. I think he mentioned the girl. I think her name is Serena Sundell from Kansas State, saying that he felt like she might have been a better option to look at. I'm not gonna lie. The season opener is Chicago Sky against Indiana Fever, which is a beautiful, say what we want. We might be talking about the WNBA, marketing moves or lack thereof, pretty soon on the show. But that's one thing they're getting right. Chicago, Indiana, season opener. Yeah, we need that. And guess what? Now that you have Hailey Van Lith in that equation with Caitlin Clark on the other side, even more of that college history rivalry thing going on. So, fit wise, I think it's fine for Chicago. I told Mike, if Hailey was available at that pick, I felt like they would get her and that would be a good pick for them. But even just on name and popularity and stuff, which we know matters, but clearly they're pleased with the basketball fit. But I like the fit and the pick and the name for all reasons considered for Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Oh, just before we keep going, I just see there's a lot of new people watching. Just want to say, if you're just tapping with us, we're here with Mike Hughes, the Chi Kid. We're talking about the Chicago Sky drafting Hailey Van Lith. Feel free to flood the comments with some thoughts. I do have a couple new comments in here, but we'll go ahead and let Mike respond, and then we'll take a look at some of these comments we got in here.
Yeah, one, I think Minnesota is just allergic to having star caliber players. And I'm talking like social media star caliber players. Like they passed up on Angel and Hailey in back-to-back years, just handed them to Chicago, just handed them. Like I think about what Angel and Fee would be able to do together. Like it's crazy to like even have those conversations. But you made a great point. And I'm sure I'm not familiar with your guy it does the pod, but from a front office standpoint, I feel like a lot of these people in these front offices just pass up on generational players every single year. It's weird because you watch Protect Our Queens or you watch other shows or podcasts around the league, and you have a great idea of who's going in the top 5. And a player like Angel Reese goes number 7 overall. And then you have Hailey not even go in the top 10. Granted, this guy could have took her 10th. I probably would have took her 10th over someone who never even played college basketball and played overseas. But Sivka's a dog as well, and we'll get into that maybe a little bit later if you guys wanted to. Like I think she's going to be great. 2023 MVP overseas. Does amazing things. Very young. But I think
6'4" and can shoot the ball, Mike.
Oh my God,
all you need to know.
All you need to know.
All I needed to know.
Me and Martin were aghast at the clip.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, so the Sky will probably send us like full tapes later on because anybody can. Like, I want to see your lowlights. I don't want to see your highlights. I think everybody's got highlights. Let me see the lowlights because I think that's what's going to be most important to how you're going to fit into a 10-man rotation. Essentially, like we were even talking about that. You're looking right now. You're gonna have Michaela at the 3. You're gonna have Angel at the 4. You have Ariel. You have Hailey. You have Kia Nurse, Rebecca Allen. The list goes on. Then you have Cardoso and Elizabeth Williams. So that's like 8 to 9 right there. So Sivka is going to be one of those players. And of course, Sloot. How could I not? You know what I mean? But like, Sivka might not make this roster. Last year, after drafting Angel Reese, we drafted arguably the best shooter coming out of college, not named Caitlin Clark, and Brenna Maxwell. Granted, she got a little banged up, but she didn't make the roster. You know, we see first round picks not make the roster all the time. So
Sure.
the conversation, like you said, like it's a money grab as well. Like we're not foolish
hey,
here.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know what I
Nothing wrong
mean?
with that. Are you
Like,
kidding me? Please, that's good for
butts
the
and seats.
franchise. That's good for ratings. That's good for tickets, TV,
Yeah.
all that. I mean,
like you
and
said,
again,
man, that
she's a
the
worthy
Indiana
pick.
game is going to be crazy.
Indiana game's gonna be crazy, and she's a worthy pick basketball wise, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I think she's going to be a good pro.
For sure. And you got to be
I
able to
would-
handle it, man. Can't be Washington out here getting superstars, you know, Marcus.
Don't be
it just does.
disrespectful. Don't be
I'm sorry.
disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
You know, we can't
Angel
all
Reese-
just have 20
Angel
top
Reese-
10 picks.
Angel Reese could have very well been a Washington Mystic last season. She probably should have been, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't get the Mystics don't get what
You
they
know,
have this year.
and Elena should have been traded to a contender and give her
let's
that
be
honor.
respectful.
But
You're walking on thin ice.
talking
Mike. You can
about
never come back.
being respectful,
You
Martin.
can never come back.
Imagine doing so much for an organization that being like, I just want to go play in Vegas. Please free me. And they went,
Why
"No."
would they let her? You're gonna get me off topic. Martin and I were
Free
talking.
EDD.
Martin and I were talking before the draft started because we were talking about like how you were saying there seems to be an uptick over the past couple of drafts of international players being drafted in spots we wouldn't expect, right? It seemed like everybody had Anissa Mara going number 5 to the Golden State Valkyries, and then they ended up picking the player out of Lithuania, right? It seems like every year that seems to happen. And what kind of dawned on me, I guess, is comparatively, Hailey Van Lith, good basketball player, really solid. I think she'll fit just fine with Chicago. She does have experience, just 5 years of college experience, right? She's 23 years old. But these are international players coming in at 19, 20 years old, whatever, who have just as much college experience overseas, right? They've played professional basketball overseas in these European leagues as long as all of these girls coming in at 22 have played in college. And I think for some teams, they look at that and they say, you know what? Maybe we value 5 years of professional EuroLeague experience over 4 or 5 years of collegiate experience. And that's not to knock the college girls, but I think that's why we've seen over the past couple of seasons so many instances where like you think a certain college player is going here, but then you get what happened last night where they picked the Lithuanian player to be 5 in Golden State, or you get an Asia Sivka at 10 instead of a Hailey Van Lith, right? And I think that's an interesting dynamic, and I think we'll continue to see it, especially if the future of international basketball is looking, if we're going to get more prospects like what Dominique Malunga might be, right? Like if that's and she might, like you said, Martin, she's probably a unicorn. We're probably not going to see much like her, but if that's the bar of European prospects coming into the WNBA at 19 years old, as Martin likes to emphasize, we're talking about spin, drop, step dunks at 19 years old. You can only imagine, right, what some of these other European players are going to be doing, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. So I think that's an interesting component. The Hailey Van Lith piece, it's interesting because last week I spent so much time talking about how the similarities between her and Kelsey Plum will make her a great fit in LA to play and learn from Kelsey Plum.
Yeah.
I actually think that's what makes her a good fit in Chicago, because she's being coached by Tyler Marsh, who spent a couple years working with Kelsey Plum and coaching Kelsey Plum, right? And so you have now a scenario where you don't just have, Asia Wilson, and Asia Wilson's great, all world, best in the world, right? But you have 2 solid post players down low who can each do different things, who complement each other well, right? Hailey Van Lith, we saw what she did at TCU this year under Mark Campbell with Sedona Prince. We saw what she was doing in Louisville for 3 years before she got to LSU. Like, she does well in systems where she can be the lead guard and play off of a big, and she's going to have 2 bigs to play off of. So to your earlier point, Mike, she might not get a lot of playing time her rookie year because, the guard room is full. But over time, if she continues to get better when they do hand her the keys and she is the lead guard, I think the sky is going to be the limit for her. I do want to point out just a couple comments because it is getting crowded in the comment section right now. One comment right here from Skullbrain Nation. How you doing? Says Angel Reese and Camila Cardosa and Hailey Van Lith. Nice trio for the sky. Another comment here says Hailey is the perfect pick, had great chemistry with Angel at LSU and some undrafted 6'7" big at TCU, so she'll know where to find the bigs fast. Another comment from Skullbrain Nation goes, Angel and Camilla finally got real outside shooters, no more double teams, which is nice. Interesting comment here from Bryce Smith. Quadruple teams. Interesting comment here from Bryce Smith. Says, sup, y'all? How you doing, man? The moment I knew where there was a change with HVL is when she was working out with Phil Handy. This is not last year's Hailey Van Lith. And then another one here saying, Atkins will also help a lot in HVL's development. She worked with player development on a prior offseason and can help teach defense. And then friend of the show, someone who actually he'll be coming on the show on Thursday later on in a couple days, says Civica's biggest flaw so far is playing against physical and athletic players. She struggled with that in the French league. He did follow up though by saying that he does think that Civica will make the final roster. There's a lot to love about what's happening in Chicago right now. Not just with Hailey, but it seems like with Asia Civica as well.
Yeah, it's dope, man.
Yeah, I love pointing out too. You always got to point out the lefty. Whenever you get a bunch of lefties, it always fascinates me. Hailey's a lefty, Angel's a lefty, Ariel's a lefty. So trust me, as a defender, you like when you go up against teams with multiple lefties, you notice that, and it becomes Vegas had a little bit of that with KP and Asia. But yeah, that's just something I always notice whenever you start stocking up on lefties. I'm like, oh, lefty guards, bigs, lefty. So that's always interesting to me.
As a lefty, I'm here.
You're a lefty, Mike?
Yeah, I've been a lefty, bro. I've been a lefty.
Get out of here.
It sucks though, because baseball is like my main thing. So like lefties, if you're not a pitcher, bro, you're not loved for real. Like,
Can you shoot? Like, more importantly, can you shoot a basketball?
Yeah, what the hell? What are you talking about?
Don't let Michael Alexander Hughes lie to you right now, Martin.
Please,
don't,
sir.
Full government, Mike.
That's not even his middle name. I just made it up.
Not my middle name. It's just white guy middle name. I feel like Marcus picks a different white guy name every time he says my middle name.
I do. You know what? Martin called me the other day, and I answered it, and I said, "Martin Darnell Soares, how you doing?" It just came in. I don't know.
He's got a black one. He's got black ones and white ones. I guess. Darnell. I don't know where that came from.
The Civica thing, though, really quick, I just want to touch on that because I was talking to Jeff about it, and it was a media press conference. So I don't want to say I was the only one talking to Jeff about it. But
say who Jeff is for people.
Come on, man. GM of the Chicago Sky, player development. Jeff Pagliacca doing his thing, bro.
All right. He's first name basis with you, but people watching,
come on.
Jeff is. He might think Jeff is just some crackhead in
Chicago on the street next to Wrigley.
Hey, Jeff's a legend, brother. Jeff's a legend. Don't get it twisted. But no, Jeff was kind of breaking down Civica and really just having that conversation of it's more of a project of, okay, this is a 19-year-old coming from overseas. What can she potentially be 2 to 3 years from now was kind of how he took it. And he said she has the potential to be one of the better forwards in this league. And I think it's going to be really exciting when you break that down. To really just see how Tyler Marsh can work with her and continue to, teach her how to bang and teach her how to do things the right way at the WNBA level. Like I joke with Marcus every now and again about Julie Alamon. Like these overseas players, the Emma Miesemans, I mean, they put in work. And they come in here and they ball. And I think sometimes, it's an adjustment to really kind of see, okay, well, here's what I can get away with here versus what I can get away with there. It's two different worlds. Luka, when he came into this league, had a little bit of foul trouble trying to figure out, you can't just run somebody down, Luka. You gotta chill out. You know what I mean? So, but I like it, man. It's an experiment. And I think those are the conversations we're having right now in Skytown is the future's bright. We're really excited. You got a nice trio. That trio to me is still Ariel Atkins, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso.
Right.
I love Hailey, but let's let Hailey be Hailey. Ariel is a seasoned vet. Ariel knows what the fuck she's doing. Part of my language, but like Ariel's one of them ones. You know what I mean? So this is probably one of the most exciting players the Sky are going to see since Kalia Copper. And I think the motor and the drive that she has is going to help bring the Sky to new heights. Or as Marcus would say, no limits. But I think it's going to be really cool to see what they do. So if Civica can potentially crack this roster, which I extremely hope she does, I hate to see like a Rebecca Allen not get in. But I mean, outside of Michaela Olinwere, it's kind of a situation where it's like, you need another three, like, because that was last year's problem. Elizabeth Williams goes down. Camila Cardoso's banged up. You got Angel playing the 5. You got 3s playing the 4 and 2s playing the 3. Like, it was a problem. So you definitely need another guard in there because Michaela had a great second half last year with Kennedy Carter and they did their thing. But you need a backup because, I mean, Martin, you guys know it as well as I do. Like, shit happens just like that and it's over.
Right. No,
Real
it's
quick
well
before we transition, there's just two more comments that caught my eye on Asia Civica that I just wanted to touch on.
Mhm.
One person says Civica is a stretch wing with a shot on her, but needs a couple years to gain muscle and explosivity. Her lateral quickness ain't good, which makes her a defensive liability currently versus quicker posts.
Sure.
And then the women's hoops masterclass comes back in and says Civica can be placed on the wing as a tall 3 depending on the matchups, but her handles need to become tighter and athletically she'll need to adjust.
okay. Sounds like kind of the typical international kind of evaluation, which is, got to get a little more athletic, a little quicker, but the skill set is clearly can space the floor. And like I said, when I saw she's 6'4", I'm like, she's tall, she can shoot, probably can be able to use her. But
and last Sky thing, because this one's from Martin. This one, like when I heard Hailey Van Lith say this in her press conference, Marcus, I don't know, could you pull up that video, or was that not able to be pulled up?
No, my computer was being stupid. It was free.
Can I play it? Can I just play the audio for bro? The way I thought of Martin was the crazy. I go, oh man, she.
I know what's happening.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. This is just Hailey talking about who's around her, who's in her circle.
Mm-hmm.
Sports psychologist Derek Grant. He's actually here today to support me. That's how close and how instrumental he has been to my career. I wanted him here, no question. But the work I've done with him on how to control my inner state of being and reducing the effect that external factors have on that inner state of being has been the most important thing, because that impacts confidence, that impacts quality of life, that impacts reads I make in the pick and roll, believe it or not. It goes that deep. And mental health for me is so important to my game. I'm such a mental player. I'm so passionate. I love.
Man, this is a girl, this is a woman straight out of college, already has a better mindset than 90% of the grown-ass men I know in this city. Like, this is like, when I heard that, she started saying Martin words, and I was like, yo, I know nothing about chakras. I know nothing
inner
about
state and calm.
Yeah, don't know nothing about that. I'm Crash Out Mike.
Yeah, I've heard it. She's been talking a lot about mental health lately, and just I think even with her LSU experience, she experienced a lot more of the hate comment side of social media. And I saw a clip of her from after the draft talking about some app that the WNBA is partnering with.
You can watch that video on Basketball Society on Instagram right now if you wanted to. Shameless plug.
She referenced some app that the WNBA is partnering with that is helping them to filter out hate comments on social media. So I expect her to continue to be like an advocate for mental health related things, because she's been very outspoken in how she talks about even her faith and her relationship with the Lord and stuff. Like she's been way more outspoken about that stuff. So good for her. And hey, any basketball player who meditates and practices mindfulness, they're going to be part of a winning atmosphere. Trust. That's just a fact. You will see them be successful. Honestly, I could speak best for basketball, but any athlete doing that probably going to see a successful career in athlete.
Just want to show out real quick. Bryce Smith says he's subbing. He digs this. Appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit the sub so you can stay tapped in with Protect Our Queens. We're going to play a clip of Mike from back in February when he joined the show after we were talking about Ariel Atkins. And we're going to transition to a player that Mike specifically wanted us to talk about tonight before.
And again, potential is like, a grand scheme of things at the end of the day that we can say, well, this could be this and this could be that. Like at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see. But with what Camilla could be in year 2, going into the year fully healthy, with what Angel can be and what she's already been in Unrivaled and go towards the second half of last year, I mean, you're looking at 2 potential top 15 players by the end of the 2025 season. You pair that up with Ariel Atkins and others, like some real championship caliber players, Tyler Marsh, who's worked with Asia. I mean, I think it's a match made in heaven for several different reasons, but this team has spaced the floor. They've created the space that they need. And now you also have Michaela as well. And Michaela was shooting the lights out the ball towards the better half of that last year. So I'm really excited to see how Tyler Marsh is going to be able to just shake up so many different lineups depending on who they're playing against.
That was right after you guys picked up Ariel Atkins. Mm-hmm. And I love the point that you just made before, Mike, that because we had said it when we talked about it on that episode, more people, Sky fans, women's basketball fans in general, because there's so much attention on the sky, mainly because of Angel, they're about to learn who Ariel Atkins is. Like, most people really are not familiar with her work. And she, like, right away, they're going to see, like, people are going to want to know more about her because she's going to be hooping because the girl can just flat out hoop.
Mm-hmm. My only fear is this new CBA. That's my only fear. That's my
yeah, everything's gonna shake.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's 1 year of Ariel, it's
Yeah.
tragic, brother. But I will enjoy it indeed because it's good basketball.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pivot from the Chicago Sky, but stay in Chicago, because with the 7th pick in the draft last night, the Connecticut Sun selected Anissa Morrow. And Mike Hughes demanded that if you were going to be on the show tonight, we had to talk about Anissa Morrow. So, Mike Hughes, the floor is yours, my brother. What was your reactions to Anissa Morrow being picked up by the Connecticut Sun?
First of all, Chaz about to get a dog out of this one, man. Chaz is about to get to work. Player development, Connecticut Sun. Chaz Franklin doing his thing. Got to give him some love. But Anissa Morrow is going to be the best player to come out of this draft. And that's where I'm taking it. Paige is a bucket. I love Paige. I love what she's done. But this is Southside Chicago. This is where the best basketball is played in this city. Coming out of Simeon, D Rose gave her some love earlier today.
Simeon? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. D Rose gave her some love. Obviously, she went to DePaul for a little bit before she entered the transfer portal. This is Chicago's own. And I believe in what she's going to be able to do, the capabilities that she has brought forth to the WNBA already going in as a rookie. I think gives her immediate all-rookie team. It's going to be exciting, man. I love Paige. Paige is a bucket getter. Paige is my favorite all-time women's college basketball player for that reason. Little short-lived just because of the injuries, but I know how good this class is. But Anissa Morrow is going to be the best player in this draft class. And
I love it, Mike. Stand on it. Marcus, who's going to be the best player in this class?
Go ahead.
I can't even.
Go ahead.
That's what I was expecting from Mike Hughes tonight. No,
that's heavy.
Southside, baby.
Who's it going to be, Marcus?
You know what? I just wrote about this the other day. The article is actually up on thelead.com. You can check it out. I actually think Kiki Uriafin might be the best player.
I knew you were going to say that.
I like it.
For a couple reasons. So for a couple reasons, I talked about in the article how I think that Kiki has the potential to be one of the WNBA's next unicorns. Right. I mean, this is a player who was drawing comparisons from to Asia Wilson after, dropping, 41 and 16 or whatever it was against Iowa State in the tournament last year. But what I also noticed just from when putting together the article and like trying to figure out why it made even more sense for Kiki Uriafin to go to DC, there are similarities with even her game with Elena Delle Donne. And I understand that Elena's not playing basketball anymore, but she's in the front office and she's still involved. And
that's because of you. Sorry.
I don't think that I think Elena is going to take Kiki's development very, very personally, the same way that she took Shakira's development personally. I think Kiki Uriafin is going to be the best player for no reason other than if you look at the history of the league, bro, like the history of the league has been dominated by bigs, right? Lisa Leslie, Tamika Catchings, Candace Parker, Asia Wilson, like, the list goes on, and Brittany Griner, like it goes on and on and on. Like you can't tell the story of the WNBA without talking about some of these all-time great bigs. And I think Kiki Uriafin has all of the things that she needs to not just be, one of the next unicorns in the WNBA, but be, the best player coming out of this draft class. Now, that is heavily contingent upon, of course, her being able to stay in DC and build a resume that allows her to compete with others that have been drafted. But I think it's her. I really think so. And I'm excited to see what she's going to do. There's not a better situation that Kiki could have been drafted into. And this is no slight to Anissa Morrow because I was advocating heavily very early on for the Mystics to draft Anissa Morrow when the lottery first happened. But Martin has brought up several times that I think something that we have to look out for with Anissa Morrow is because of her size, like figuring out how exactly she's going to slot into lineups, how exactly she's going to fit. And, I think she's good and I think she has skills that will certainly translate, but there are some things about her game from college. Like she's the second all-time double getter in D1 history and like third or fourth rebounder all time. Like, are we 100% sure that that'll translate to the WNBA at her size? I think she's great. I think she has the toughness. I think she's got the motor, and I think she has the intangibles to do it. I don't know if she'll be the best in the draft class. She'll be one of them. She'll be like she'll be one of them. She'll be in that conversation, But if I had to pick, I'm gonna go Kiki or Yafin. I think just has all the things. 100%.
Really, I'm laughing not at the take because I think your take is amazing, but I get deja vu from last year's show that we all did together that I don't know if Angel's double doubles will translate because of the size or because of what she likes. Bunch of people didn't think Angel was gonna. Not you individually. I'm saying we discussed that people were saying that, and I felt like that was something where I was like, man, you just got to know how to get boards, and that's exactly where her game translates. Is she just knows exactly where to be. Angel knows exactly where to be. People can say what they want to say about that whole situation with getting your own misses, whatever. But statistically, when you look at what she did in Unrivaled at LSU, and even in the season with the Chicago Sky for some spurts, Angel Reese kind of went into the league with those same questions of, is she going to be able to? Is she not? Because if there weren't questions about that, you wouldn't have been 7 overall. You know what I mean? So I love this situation where you're going into a place where, you've had DeWanna Bonner, you've had Alyssa Thomas. This is an organization that respects the bigs and understands what they need to do in order to have success. So I think it's a great place for it. And again, a friend of the show, brother of mine, Chaz Franklin, is in the building. And if Chaz Franklin's in the building, you're a step ahead of everybody else. So I think, for me, Anissa's my opinion, going to be the best, if not one of the best out of this draft class. But Kike's a monster, man.
Anissa definitely has a nose for the ball, same as Angel, and she'll get boards in the league. I have questioned just with her size. She's not the same. She's not the same length and height, obviously, of Angel, but like she has a nose for the ball. She has the motor. She has the strength. She's going to be able to be effective, and I think you make great points there. Especially in that situation, because she should be getting tons of reps too. I mean, I don't think she'll be shooting 15, 20 shots a game, but like they need shot distribution. They need anybody who can score to be scoring. So there's going to be opportunities for her to shine probably right away. No one asked me. The only person
I was about to ask you.
Oh, okay.
No, we were about to go. I had one more thing to say, and I was going to give it to you. I just wanted to say, it's interesting too, because when they drafted Anissa Mara, I looked at Martin and I said, to your point, Mike, about DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas, if there's a team in the league that has history getting the best out of players who kind of don't fit the particular mold of a position, it's the Connecticut Sun, and look no further than DeWanna and Alyssa Thomas. So even at that regard, and of course Chaz Franklin, who does great things, I think they'll get the best out of her for sure. I agree. Right. But Martin,
and of course we trust Chaz, but it was Stephanie White before, so it's still brand new. So it's not the Connecticut Sun we've known, just to be fair. But we trust. But with Chaz there, we all agree that's. I mean, that has me tuned in just off the strength of us knowing what Chaz can do. Yep. I think the best player in this draft is going to be between. I thought about it, and at first I was going to say I was thinking Kiki like you, Marcus. My first mind really does go to Paige. I think it's between Paige, Kiki, but honestly now I'm thinking it's between Paige, Kiki, and Dominique Malunga. If in 5 years, let's give it 5 years. In 5 years, who do we think is probably going to have? I think Paige is going to have a good first 5 years. And again, we're talking obviously everyone healthy, best version of their best self, all that good stuff. In 5 years, who do we think will have had the best first 5 years of their career? Honestly, I think everyone we've named is going to have a good chance. Honestly, I do. But I'm starting to really think Dominique Malunga, man, she might be too unique. In like a couple of years, she might be figuring things out, and she might be not just prospect, but like she may be just the best player. But my first mind does go to Paige, though.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I mean, the ceiling is Wemby, but even if let's just like shoot the shit for a second. Even if the floor is like a Porzingis caliber player, that's a hell of a good player. You know what I mean? Like the sky really is the limit in that situation. I think development is just gonna. I don't know much about their developmental system over there, so I think it'll just really come down to that at the end of the day. But Martin, I like it. I like you're going out of the box. You're stepping out of the comfort zone. Last year, I think we all sat here and said Caitlin. So I like that there's 3 different answers on here, and none of them are really the number 1 pick.
I will say, man, if I said this on the show last week, if the growth that we saw from Ezzy McMagor is any indication, I think you're right, Mike. The sky can really be the ceiling for Dominique Malunga because she can do things that Ezzy can't do. So like if and Ezzy has made massive strides. Just in the 1 year she got with NECA, she made massive strides. So we're talking about already Dominique Malunga being more skilled than Ezzy, getting that same amount of time. I'm very excited to your point, Martin. Very excited to see what Dominique Malunga is looking like 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. It's going to be, as our guest that's coming on the show on Thursday said, it's going to be must-see TV in Seattle for sure.
Yeah, and there's not as much of a gap. I mean, to what you said, Mike, I just don't think there's as much of a gap in this draft. Like, Paige is going to be a very good player. We've talked about just the nature of Paige, and even you listen to her talking about playing with Enrique, she's already thinking unselfish. She's thinking about how many assists she's going to be getting playing with another great scorer. So, like, Paige, you know, I think it's going to be really interesting. I look forward to even talking about it more, but I think Paige is going to be effective right away. She may not be, like I said, lighting the place on fire. I'm sure she'll have a few 20-point games and maybe a 30 ball here and there, but I think she's going in thinking point guard Paige, get acclimated to this, to the league, to the system, make sure Enrique is happy and comfortable, make sure they're operating nicely as a duo. So
that was the problem with Marina Mabry, man. Like, Marina Mabry and Enrique were a great pair from a scoring perspective, but I mean, they're both trying to shoot the ball. So to your point, like, Paige is a dream for someone like Enrique, who's been waiting for that for years.
It's always a pleasure to have the Chi Kid Mike Hughes on the show. Real quick before we go, Mike, please let everybody know where they can find you and all of your content.
Basketball Society, all WNBA content this year. Or you can check me out on the Chi Kid on Instagram. We're doing stuff all year long. We're going to be at every single home game for the Chicago Sky. Unfortunately, I will have to drive out to Indiana for the first game of the year. Not a fan of corn and nothing. But it'll be a great time, man. And we'll be in the United Center in June or July for that game, so it'll be pretty dope. I know Angel and I had that conversation together earlier in the last season when she wore the Michael Jordan sweater. I said, hey man, you trying to promote MJ coming to the game? I mean, I don't see him going to Wintrust, but I could see him coming back home to the UC, the house Jordan built. I don't know why he would miss it with, you know, Caitlin Clark with Nike. I just think it makes sense. I'm not promoting. I doubt he leaves his house in North Carolina. He ain't left in like 40 years. But you know, I don't think he's left since Braun won that last championship in Cleveland either. But, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right.
But
don't.
I'm sorry.
All right. Be respectful.
I'm sorry.
Like Marcus.
Hey, who from Chicago? I say what I want, damn it.
That's a good point, man. It's always a pleasure to have Mike Hughes on the show. For all of you guys that tapped in with us tonight, we greatly appreciate it. Please be like our guy Bryce Smith. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any future episodes of Protect Our Queens podcast. As we've alluded to, we do have another episode lined up later on this week with another guest that we'll be having on to talk more about the draft. And as Martin alluded to at the top of the show, we will be unpacking the draft a lot over the next couple weeks as we transition from the WNBA draft to the beginning of the WNBA season, which, if memory serves, tips off Friday, May 16th. So we are pretty much a month away from the beginning of seeing all of these talented players actually step foot, hopefully all of them step foot on the WNBA court for the first time. So for my guy, Mike Hughes, the Chi Kid, and my guy, Martin Sories of Basketball Society, this is Marcus of the Protect Our Queens podcast signing off. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, you enjoy yourselves some women's basketball.